absolutely love flying, don't you?
Yeah, I do like flying, yeah. I never used to, actually.
Did you not?
No,
Were
I
you
never
nervous
used to.
flyer?
I used to be.
Oh.
But since being with Chris for like 10 years, like he flies all the time, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Now it doesn't faze me at all.
How funny.
Yeah.
Was there
but I
anything in
did used
particular
to.
that you used to get quite hung up on?
Not really. I just used to be a little bit of a nervous flyer. Not terribly nervous, but just a bit.
Oh,
but yeah.
Never knew that about you.
No.
Do you remember your first time flying first class?
I do, yeah. And I remember sort of the anticipation of it more so as well, because you don't know what to expect until you do it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we've all done that really long flight in economy and you arrive really tired and your back
really, like,
hurts.
crumpled
and,
up as well,
you want to
don't you?
stretch and the food's not very good, you're exhausted because of like lack of sleep. Whereas like first class, like from the minute you arrive at the airport, it's an experience the whole way through.
Such a treat.
Yeah, and even on board, like get to learn all the buttons and try not to be a complete novice in the cabin, because like, you don't want to look like you don't do it often.
It's your first time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Well, we're back today filming another episode of the Luxury Travel Podcast. So between Matt and I, we've got, 25 years?
Yeah, we
combined?
don't look old enough.
We don't look old enough, we don't.
But yeah, probably about
sure
25
that's what they were
years.
thinking at home. So between us both, we booked hundreds of clients' kind of special trips. So yeah, during our podcast, we'll be covering different topics on the episodes, about kind of what we do and any suggestions from the listeners at home.
Yeah.
But I think it goes without saying, we've got to mention where we're sat today.
Yeah,
recording.
we're back at the Londoner today, aren't we?
Back at the Londoner, yep.
Incredible location.
It's sunny.
The ideal hotel. When I go away, actually, I like to be in a hotel that you can just wander.
Yes.
And this hotel is perfect. I mean,
so
tube
central.
station is minutes away.
Yeah.
But also from the window, obviously the listeners can't see it, but I can see every popular London monument from this window, and it's probably 15 minutes walk away max to most of them. So it's a perfect hotel to like wander.
It's so good, and obviously, especially if you're going to the West End or if there is like a film premiere outside. Lovely spot. So, should we crack on?
Yeah.
What's today's episode about?
So we're talking about all things first class and what happens up there at 38,000 feet. So we'll start with you. The listeners may not know, well, they probably don't, that you was crew.
Yes.
And how long did you do that for?
So I worked for British Airways for 2 years.
Okay. And did you have a favourite destination?
Oh, I did. I had 3 actually. So my ideal roster, because you could bid for your favourites. You didn't always get them. But my favourites would have been one US trip. I used to love Chicago. The hotel was so central, great for shopping. I used to love going to Rio in Brazil. Long flight, but also meant a long trip. So we had 2 clear days. And it just used to feel like a little holiday. I felt like, no one spoke English, which I loved. And our hotel was right on the beach. So yeah, it felt very kind of...
break.
Yeah, like a little mini break. And my third place I used to bid for was South Africa. There was a spa, maybe like a 5-minute walk down from our hotel in Cape Town, and I used to email ahead and pre-book like a whole spa day, because obviously like the rand to the pound, it's so cheap. So I'd probably be in the spa from sort of 10 a.m. till 5 p.m, getting so much done for like £70. So it was such
People
a nice
on their
treat.
holidays don't even do that.
No, this is it. So those were my top 3 I used to love. That would have been my perfect month.
Yeah, they sound good.
Yeah.
And on board, obviously, there's lots of different positions that passengers don't even know about. But did you have a favourite position on board?
Yeah, so depending on the aircraft type, there would be anything from perhaps 4 positions up to 12 or 14. And there was this one in particular in the first class cabin. I think it was position 11, and would do all the announcements. And I used to love doing that. I used to ditch my Essex accent, put on my best British Airways accent. And you know when like the pilots speak over the tannoy and they have that really
tone.
smooth kind of low voice.
Yeah.
I just used to love reading it. I used to know them off by heart, and welcome everyone on board.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into being crew, isn't there, that passengers don't know about or might not think about or take for granted, actually.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the experience of, what passengers don't know?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a big thing that passengers don't realise is all the training that you have to do. It is quite arduous, really quite difficult as well. So it's a mixture of theory and practical. you have to pass above 90% on every single exam, otherwise you retake, etc. But then on top of that, every year you would have an intense 2-day, what they call recurrent, where they kind of condense those exams and you're tested every single year to make sure, you know, you're well up to date on everything. And the type of training that you would have would be emergency first aid, how to deliver a baby on board, which thankfully never happened, hijack situation training, survival training. So we all went to a leisure centre near Heathrow in pyjamas and jeans and all of that, and sort of climbed onto a life raft, how to use flares, and of course how to use the slides and come down them.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot in it.
Did you have to use any of these skills?
No, thank goodness.
But they're there just in case.
And this is it. This is what most people don't realise. And also even like firefighting on board, you know, stuff like that. So, but you just always just have it there at the back of your mind. But luckily, touch wood, most flights are quite smooth.
Yeah. And moving on to sort of why we're here today, and that's to talk about first class and what is different about that cabin. What goes into the extra training, or is there extra training that's involved, and can anyone work in first class?
So with that, you have to be working for the airline, certainly when I was working there, for a year, and you have to be nominated by your manager to have the first class training in order to work in the cabin. So you don't just automatically have the training at 1 year, you have to still be put forward for the cabin. And the training differed slightly there, so you'd be learning royal titles and how to use them correctly, silver service, so how to lay the table correctly and serve. We would also have sommelier training due to the upgraded food and beverage that would be served in first.
Oh wow. And can you tell the listeners a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I mean, even in business, it's still absolutely lovely, and you'll get given your glass of champagne on boarding. And for example, again, when I was crew, the champagne in business was Tattinger. And when you would have your dinner or your first meal service on board, that would be at the same time as the other passengers within business. Still very lovely, 3 courses, choosing from a menu. However, in first, the champagne is now upgraded. So it's...
it's a better champagne.
It's a better champagne, so it's now Laurent Perrier Grand Siècle. And they had a lot more vintage wines as well. And then the dining, you would also be given a menu for first. But you can dine on demand.
Oh, wow.
So you can...
So it's not when
simply
everyone
pick and choose.
eats.
Yeah, exactly. But there would also, when you were eating, you would have an amuse-bouche. You would have a dedicated cheese course in addition to the dessert, not one or the other. So...
Nice, perfect for people like me then who like to eat on board.
This is
constantly.
it. If you want to try a little bit of everything, and eat through the night or through the day,
So the food, the wine, elevated in this cabin. What about sort of the small luxurious touches that slightly differ from the business cabins?
Yeah, so the other things that you would receive on board, you would have pyjamas, whether it's a night or a day flight. Your amenity kit would be different to what you'd be getting in business as well, so slightly larger and a different, I believe it's Templars, whereas in business it's White Company. You would have access to the Galleries Lounge at Terminal 5, which you can only access with a first class ticket, so very, very exclusive. You would also, your seat was much larger. Yeah. You've got so much more space. You've also got a tiny little wardrobe as well. But with the seat in particular, it always used to make me laugh because if there were ever children travelling in first, they just sit so tiny in this huge seat. They were just absolutely...
Lucky children to be travelling in first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Very luxurious.
And I suppose we're working in on an upgraded cabin like first class. The service standard is a bit more, higher,
elevated.
And it's expected from the customers, I guess. And I get anticipation or anticipating passenger needs must be sort of high up on the priority list. Can you tell us a bit more about what you'd sort of look out for and the differences there?
Yeah, so discretion was key. So, and discretion I think covers 2 things. It covers privacy. So British Airways had a strict no photo policy on board to obviously protect the privacy of those flying. But also I think discretion covers anticipating needs like what you've just mentioned. So knowing when someone's finished with their meal, when to clear away the table before they have to ask you, or also just noting kind of whatever time the flight is, perhaps if they've got up to use the restroom, that you would have their bed ready and made for them when they get back before they even need to ask.
Yeah.
So anticipating those kinds of things in their journey on board.
And I think they probably expect that, don't they? And that it's best not to ask. And also, you mentioned like privacy, but are there any like standout moments that you can sort of spill? Any secrets?
Oof, well, discretion is key, obviously, but not naming any names. We used to often have a lot of Middle Eastern royal families flying first, and it used to make me laugh because mainly the men would ask for a little tipple of their favourite whiskey or brandy, but they would always ask for it in a mug, so as to not have any passengers see or their wives see maybe. So that always used to make me laugh, and I would always absolutely help them with that little glass of tipple. But also there was one time I remember we had an A-lister British actor on board who had made the headlines that week, and as he came on board and sat in his seat, he had all these papers that he'd picked up en route. And then for the first few hours of the flight, he just read about himself.
Oh, wow.
About all these
articles.
Fact-checking, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Make sure it's right.
That's it. But for the majority of the time, the passengers in first, they just wanted to be left alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they would often eat in the lounge, and then by the time they got on board, they would just want a bottle of water, maybe a small little snack.
Oh, nice.
And they would either just rest and sleep, or they might even catch up on films kind of guilt-free.
That's an easy cabin to work in then.
Well, this is why I liked it, because it really was quite easy. Yeah. Everyone in that cabin was very used to that level of service, so they weren't demanding.
Yeah.
I would say working in business was actually a lot more demanding and a lot harder.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think maybe because more in business, you might get people who are working.
Yeah.
So they'll be up kind of the entire flight working away and obviously wanting to eat and drink.
And it's busier, isn't it? It's a busy cabin.
It is busy. Yeah. Or it might be someone's first time in business.
Yeah.
And of course, we've all done it, but they want to try absolutely every course with every wine that there is going, which is lovely. You know, it's so nice to see people's excitement when it is their first time.
You actually do a day's work.
But you are. Keeping you rushed off your feet.
Yeah.
So you've flown both first and business, haven't you? So how would you say it compares from a passenger point of view?
So from the moment you get to the airport, you are treated differently. And with some of the Middle Eastern carriers, you even get picked up from your home address, like with the chauffeur.
Yeah.
But yeah, the check-in is seamless. It's got its own dedicated check-in desk, even different to business. So you check in at the first, seamless, quick process. Service is elevated there as well. They just want to assist and get you through. But also that leads on to security, and even that's got its own dedicated lane. So you get through that really quickly. And you briefly mentioned the lounge earlier, but the lounge is always close to the check-in security gate, so you can get straight into the lounge without having to do sort of the hustle and bustle of the airport.
Duty free and
Obviously it's there if you want it, but the lounge itself is an incredible experience because it's first, it's quieter, it's not that big like the business lounge is, but the food's brilliant, the drink's brilliant, and often, like you say, you can get full up on the food in there before you get on board.
It's more like a restaurant, isn't it, rather than a lounge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is sort of the perfect start, or relaxing start, which is normally quite a hectic start at the airport.
It is, yeah.
Before getting on board, and that experience in itself is just incredible. Like you're first to board anyway, and because it's a small cabin, you don't really know what's going on. You don't know how many people are on board. You don't see anyone else come on board. You sort of get in your seat and wait really. Yeah. And the service is so good. It's excellent.
Yeah, should be very seamless.
Yeah.
How would you say it makes a start to your holiday when you've travelled in first or business?
I think the start, it's the perfect way to start because however long or short your flight is, but I mean, I've mostly done it long haul. And
that's a good point actually. Yeah, let's talk about Club Europe or, you know, going upgraded on a shorter flight.
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth it still. I mean, Club Europe's still a great service, but I think there you pay for, or the benefit is the boarding,
the
airport experience rather than on board.
Yeah.
It's still an elevated service, as you know, like you get your food and the drink and it's still that.
And you've got the middle seat blocked out.
Yeah, so you still get the extra space. But essentially it's the same seat, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's actually, what I think is worth it is the checking in experience and the airport lounge.
Yeah.
And just the ease of everything.
Yeah, definitely.
But going long haul, I think that the main perk is that you arrive rested.
Yeah.
With that, you know, in economy, you feel exhausted and tired and dehydrated, whereas in first, you can have that space, you can stretch. It's just like the best way to start a holiday, especially if you're going somewhere long, or like when we went to Johannesburg, we flew in business. But it was nice because we had a really busy, hectic schedule for the whole trip. Yeah. That actually we arrived rested, and we did a full day's holiday in the first day because we felt rested.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the perfect way to start.
Yes, you mentioned about when we flew to Johannesburg, and we actually flew on the way out because of the aircrafts. We flew on the way out in Club World and on the way home in the Club Suite.
Yeah.
And even just that, even though it's still British Airways business cabin, they're just miles apart, aren't they?
Miles apart.
Again, now that we've kind of had those different experiences, certainly when we're planning our clients' holidays, we know the aircraft to look out for. Because when you're spending that kind of money, you want to be in the club suite, really.
And it is amazing. It's still business class, but you know the club suite is incredible, isn't it? A bit more privacy, the sliding
you've got
door.
The door. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it also, coming home as well, as you mentioned, it makes you not dread coming home.
This is true.
It's perfect to end it as well. If anything, the ending is more important than the start for me.
Yeah.
Because you have this great holiday, and often you don't want to go home. But if you're travelling in a business, at least you're a bit like, oh, do you know what? It's a nice experience going home as well. So the holiday doesn't end until you're actually back at Heathrow.
That time we actually went to the arrivals lounge at Heathrow, didn't we? Before we actually then got on the train to go home. And just went there and had a little cup of coffee. I had one more glass of fizz for the road.
Really made the most of the food.
We did. Well, this is it.
Yeah.
But I've also, so we've mainly spoken about British Airways. I've also flown business with Qatar. But not their iconic Q Suite, whereas you have, and I think that's perhaps what they're most known for their upgraded cabins, is their Q Suite. Yeah,
their Q Suite is absolutely incredible. I flew to the Maldives a couple of years ago, and I've never been on board where they remember your name, but I don't like being called Mr. Claydon. They always call me by my first name. But that for me is like a bit of an elevated service compared to other airlines. But also it's big. It's like a mini sort of first class suite. Again, they have the privacy doors, but the size of the actual Q suite itself, it is really spacious. But also if you're travelling with a travelling companion, they can make it often into like a double or a quad if there's a family of 4. So that's really good as well. That's quite a unique feature.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And they have diptyque amenities on board, so their amenities are really, really nice as well.
Yeah, smells so lovely.
Yeah, and I remember actually we landed into the Maldives and it was just as COVID was kicking off, and we was held on board because someone was coughing, believe it or not.
Really?
Someone just had a cough, like on back row of economy. Yeah. But on board, we was just like kept in the loop the whole time. Yeah. And they would come over constantly, even though we was landed. Yeah. Giving us drinks, like all sorts, like just to try and sort of make the time go quicker. Yeah.
And especially if you've already got a lovely seat, you almost don't mind waiting, do
exactly,
you?
Yeah. We was happy.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. I'd love to try. Have you heard about the Singapore first class suites or seen?
Yeah, they look absolutely incredible.
Ginormous.
Yeah, and the Etihad as well. They have the apartment.
Yeah, that looks so good. So maybe those will be
It's just the best way to travel, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And it's just so nice to feel that. It's just such a treat, I think, as well. It's just, it's like part of the holiday. Yeah.
So before we go into our regular sort of check-in, check-out segment, we actually asked our listeners for some questions. So I'm going to give you some quick fire questions, if that's all right. So first off, what would you not say to crew?
Oh, one of my pet peeves was being asked to put people's bags up.
Okay.
And I just used to think, if you can't
lift it,
if you've packed it yourself and you can't lift it, I should not be expected to lift it either. And you know, that might sound really dramatic, but that's not just one person. If you know, if you're doing a long haul flight and there's a lot of people in whatever cabin you're working,
asking you to lift your bags.
Yeah. I wouldn't have any energy left to actually work the flight. So I was not a fan of that question.
And this is something that we all want to know, and the listeners included, is best way of getting an upgrade.
Oh, well, it's tricky because officially you can't get an upgrade on board anymore. But I would say a cause for upgrades.
There's a way.
Yes, would be, I mean, it's very unfortunate, it's not guaranteed. It would be very unfortunate if you were to be sat in a seat that perhaps wasn't working or the TV wasn't working.
Okay.
I've known of it happening on some occasions where if someone's seat was broken or their screen wasn't working, if there was a seat available in another cabin, it may be in the same cabin, but if it was available in another cabin.
So if you discreetly break a seat, you could potentially get an upgrade.
Not my words.
And what happens with all the first class meals? Like, is there any leftovers? Like, what happens with those?
Oh gosh, you're asking really naughty questions here. The official answer is the first class food is for the first class passengers because, as I explained, it's dine on demand. So although you might be doing a night flight and you've got all of your dinner meals, sort of that you would expect people to eat kind of after takeoff, and then your breakfast menu for the morning, there isn't anything to say that someone might not wake up and fancy beef bourguignon at 7 a.m. in the morning. And if they do, then, you know, we've got it and it's ready to go. However, that rarely happened. And not me, but maybe some of the crew might try some of the milk.
So
maybe.
It doesn't go to waste by the sounds of it.
Well, this is it. It'd be, you know, be an awful shame. The food is so good. Maybe that happens. Maybe it doesn't.
Okay. We have touched on it briefly, but is it worth it to go short haul? What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for the exact same reasons that you said, you're getting the lounge upon arrival at Heathrow. This is obviously if we're talking about British Airways, so say Club Europe. The seat is the same on board, but it's all the stuff kind of before and after. So the lounge, boarding first. Of course, you've got the food and drink on board, but then being first off the plane when you arrive. But then also you've got the upgraded luggage, which is quite handy.
Yeah. And that's prioritised as well, actually.
That's
isn't it?
prioritised, but it's just the space.
Yeah,
it really
it does make
lovely.
a difference. Well, thank you for those little questions.
Well, I hope they've been of help.
Yeah.
I haven't
given any secrets away. So we're going to go into our regular segment now, where we check in or check out of what we, you know, want to do or not want to do with these things.
With the topic of first class or air travel.
So champagne on boarding. I think I know the answer.
I'm checking in on that. To be honest, I think I'm checking in on champagne at any time of day, any location. What about you? Checking in on champagne?
No, I'm checking out. It's completely wasted on me, any of that. Even in the lounge, I much prefer...
The orange juice.
Yeah, a juice or something, or water, or, you know, something soft. I don't know why.
Like a Diet Coke, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a gin and tonic and things, but I don't really like drinking on a plane for some reason.
No,
so yeah, I'm checking out. A full change into onboard pyjamas.
I'm checking in on that. Normally, I will be changed before we've even taken off. So I'll put my stuff on the seat, grab the PJs, go to the toilet, get changed, back for the hot towel. What about you?
I'm checking out. I travel in something that I can rest in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I can't be bothered, to be honest.
No.
Well, that's easy, but I still can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Are you an amenity kit collector?
I am checking in on that because I absolutely am. Sometimes the bags are so handy, even just as almost like a little makeup bag or just to separate something in your handbag. So for that alone, let alone actually using them on board. What about yourself?
Me too. I rarely use them on board, in fact. But at home I have a drawer full.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't ever use them, so I shouldn't really, but they're just handy to have, aren't they? And they're nice. Like, you look at them and think, oh, that's nice, I'll have that. I'll use that for future reference. But I do have one in my work bag, you know, like just for things, like generally.
Even like the little mini kind of moisturisers, they can be so handy sometimes if, that size.
So I am as well, I'm checking in on that.
Okay.
And our last one is sleep through the meal service.
So I'm checking in on that because personally I prefer to eat in the lounge, maybe have some snacks, and then when I get on board, I'll look at the menu. Absolutely. I might be tempted by the cheese course, but I don't like to eat tons on a flight, so I'd be sleeping as early as I can be.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I'm checking in. I like to try everything
God, you're one of
that's
those.
offered. Yeah. I'll put you through your paces with the food section. But even with the lounge, I like to try it with the lounge, eat as much as I can or want, well, you know what I want, not greedy. But on board, yeah, absolutely. I will not miss the meal service.
No,
For breakfast as well, please wake me up. Yeah. That's it for today's podcast. We hope you've enjoyed listening. And that's a peek into sort of polished, pressurised world of first class, which is sometimes chaotic, but really luxurious in first class.
Yeah, definitely. So please absolutely follow, share this episode if there's someone who dreams of champagne at 38,000 feet, not yourself, because turn your nose up with the fizz.
Juice at 38,000 feet.
But hopefully it's inspired you, and it is obviously it comes with a price tag, but it is lovely for all the reasons that you mentioned at the start, you know, just the build up to a holiday. Yeah. And we can help you.
It's an experience to add on to the holiday, isn't it? Rather than a cost.
Yeah, rather than a mode of transport, like you say, it's totally the experience. So Please do follow for more episodes of our podcast, Luxury Travel Podcast. We'll be talking about more topics to do with travel.